360. This is our major news bulletin. My name is Kwesi Asare.
And I am Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil,
and Napa Foods.
Slain soldier Sheriff Imoro laid to rest.
Meanwhile, Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament is to visit Ashaiman to dialogue with residents after the military high command apologized for its high-handedness in trying to find those involved in the alleged murder of 21-year-old soldier.
Also in the bulletin tonight, migration shoots up, translating into rapid urbanization in the country. We'll tell you more.
In business, Stanbic Bank Ghana to receive $81 million from its parent company to cover losses that may arise from the domestic debt restructuring.
And elsewhere on the foreign front, dozens rescued after deadly Lagos train and bus crash. We've got details of all these stories, plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to send them coming in on our Facebook page. We promise to share them with the rest of the world.
In the details tonight, the remains of the 21-year-old soldier Sheriff Imoro, who was allegedly stabbed to death at a Sherman, has been laid to rest at the military cemetery at Bemakam. My colleague Godwin Asediba joined mourners and has come through with the following report.
It was a somber mood as crowds of people gathered on both sides of the street at the 37 Military Hospital to pay their respects. Soldiers lined the street as the remains of the late 21-year-old soldier, Sheriff Imoro, was wrapped in a cloth, draped in national colors, and was conveyed to a mosque within the hospital premises. A few minutes after a prayer session, the body was taken back into the ambulance.
The family is full of tears and sorrow because they are so struggling to come to terms with the fact that their beloved 21-year-old son, who was an energetic and vibrant soldier, is finally leaving the earth today. It's actually really a heartbreaking story if you come in here.
Friends and family arrived at the military cemetery to pay their respects before the burial rites commenced.
So what you're seeing is a march past by the military team, respectfully done. You can clearly see that members of the family here are gathered with sadness, sorrows, and tears in their eyes. The body is being descended gently down the grave that has been dug here at the Bemakam Military Cemetery. I can see the people who are down the grave trying to unwrap a white cloth that is being used to wrap the body before it is being put down there before the burial processes can start.
The late Sheriff Imoro had an unwavering commitment not only to his family but also to being a soldier, according to a featurer, the deceased mother.
Because my day is Sheriff.
It hasn't been easy for me at all. Sheriff was my only hope.
According to the uncle of the deceased, Ahmed Abdul Rahman, an autopsy report revealed Sheriff died of multiple stab wounds.
They gave me the report, the autopsy report.
What did it say?
They said several stabbed, their hospital terms, but several stabbed with some little.
Godwin Asidiba, TV3 News, Accra.
This is where the remains of 21-year-old soldier Sheriff Imoro has finally been laid to rest at the Bema Camp Military Cemetery. Indeed, death is inevitable. As a soldier, as young and vibrant as he was, who thought death would have taken his life this soon? But at the end, this is where his life ends.
Meanwhile, a group calling itself Ashaman Lives Matter is demanding compensation for victims of the military brutalities. The group has also called for the release of persons who are still in custody.
Residents of Ashaiman, Tulaku and Taifa are still traumatized days after the invasion of the area by military personnel. Women, children and the elderly were whipped, stomped and spanked into submission during the assaults by the military. The Ghana Armed Forces later in a statement justified the operation, adding it was to fish out criminals involved in the killing of the 21-year-old soldier there. Addressing the media on Thursday, convener and spokesperson for the group, Emmanuel Kumade, demanded compensation for victims of the military brutality.
Calling on the president to direct the Minister of Defense to pay all the damaged properties of the Ashama residents caused by the soldiers. Pay adequate compensation to all victims of the military brutalization.
The group also called for a probe into the incident.
Calling on the president to immediately set up a committee to investigate the criminal acts of the soldiers and the culprits punished.
Some of the victims also shared the ordeal they went through at the hands of the military.
We're still staying in Ashaiman because the military high command has apologized to the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament for storming Ashaiman and brutalizing civilians. Chairman of the committee, Kennedy Ejepon, says the committee will visit Ashaiman together with the military on Thursday, March 16, to assuage the pain meted out to the victims while investigations continue.
Over the weekend, a young soldier met his untimely death in Ashaiman, following which the military unleashed its full force in a quest to arrest the perpetrators. Civilians were brutalized, battered, and bundled into military custody. An enraged member of Parliament, Ernest Nogbe, seeking to use his parliamentary tools, was beckoned to hold it as the Defense and Interior Committee, which he's a part of, has taken a keen interest in the matter.
We pleaded with our honorable member from Ashama. I don't wish to be in his shoes. Normally, he's very loud on the committee, but today, what accounts will say, Bema Emre. He's so worried. I haven't seen him so down like this before, which means it has taken a toll on him, and we all sympathize with him.
The military high command was summoned to Parliament on Thursday to meet the committee.
We, as members of the committee, cannot inflame passions by going there to make comments that will annoy a faction. We are not to do that. Our mission is to make sure we have peace in this country. The unfortunate incident that happened, we have all condemned it. And Minister has even apologized on behalf of the military that they admit that they were excesses.
For the Defense Minister, the military deserves some respect.
Incidents like this in the life of the country do happen. We are shaping up a country, and we are going to have some of these incidents, regrettable incidences happening there. But I will still appeal to the people of Ghana to be very respectful of people in uniform. It will help all of us. But we cannot say, I will not say anything until the committee itself and us have gone on Thursday to the place and visited the place to ascertain for ourselves. One of the reasons why we are not going immediately is that investigation is still ongoing. We don't want to compromise whatever investigation that will happen. And that's why we task our colleagues to tone down on the statement so that we can all work together as unison to ensure that this tricky situation is brought under control. We want a peaceful Ghana, that's all.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, experts have argued that Tuesday's swoop by personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces at Ashaiman should have been a collaborative operation between the police and the military. Many have asked why the police were left out, especially as it's an internal situation. Christian Yali asked whether what happened is a case of extrajudicial justice.
What happened at Ashaiman is only one of the many instances in which members of the public have been assaulted, brutalized, and in some cases killed through police and military-led operations without recourse to any due legal process or investigations. Lives have been lost in some cases, although to date, no one knows what exact sanctions have been meted out to the officers involved in these acts.
If I'm to put it bluntly, it's actually disrespect for the rule of law and also some form of indiscipline. It violates the Criminal Procedure Code.
Article 15 of Ghana's 1992 Constitution clearly states that no person shall, whether or not he is arrested, restricted or detained, be subjected to torture or any other cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, any other condition that detract or is likely to detract from his dignity and worth as a human being. It adds that a person who has not been convicted of a criminal offense shall not be treated as a convicted person and shall be kept separately from convicted persons.
As the name suggests, you are supposed to act intelligently, but the way they act, and the way they carried about some of these operations makes me think that they are not acting intelligently.
Apart from the use of state apparatus to execute perceived adversaries and suspected criminals, the public has also been subjected to self-defense killings in some instances. What many ask is how such investigations should be carried out.
Unless it was a knee-jerk operation that was taken right, more or less a reaction to the murder, then that statement does not hold any form of substance. Matters of such nature should be the preserve of the police force. The military had no business in taking any form of operation.
So, what should be the way forward?
Sometimes you only give compensation to those people, but the real perpetrators who committed those crimes and those atrocities, we don't see anything happen to them.
It appears people's desire for vengeance is mostly to blame for extrajudicial justice. Regardless, an effective criminal justice system will help to ensure a more efficient prosecuting system and a better protection of human rights. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Accra.
And now victims of the Ashaiman military brutality are considering heading to court over the incident of the 184 persons rounded up. 34 of them remain in custody. Here's another report by Godwin Asidiba.
33-year-old Divine Azanku as one of the many young men who were dragged out of their homes in the early hours of Tuesday, March 7, 2023, in the military swoop at Ashaiman. He was not among the lucky ones who were set free on the same day.
They beat us and they took us from here to Michel Camp. We went there for a while. That place they didn't beat us. We went there for a while. Then they transferred us to Bema Camp. In the Bema Camp, we passed through some drill, and after that, they brought us back to drop us at Runabout.
He was taken away by the military after receiving severe beatings for a crime he did not commit. He said together with his colleagues, they were not provided with food.
They didn't give us Gary. So they didn't even give us. But that place, they didn't bring us food like this food we should take. But I heard that if you are hungry, there's Gary over here. And everybody too is scared. Maybe you say you are hungry, no, they'll go there, they'll beat.
Bright Daklu, 26, is a sickle cell patient and one of the victims of Tuesday's dawn brutalities.
I left my dad because he was older. So they left my dad and they brought me to there's a chapel here. So that was when they started beating us. So when we were done, they took us to Michelle camp. But when we were going, there was a necklace on my neck. One of them grabbed it and then pulled it off. I couldn't find it. My phone, some few things on me, I couldn't find them again. We got to Michelle camp and then I have this medical condition, rheumatism. So it kicked in the camp and then they took me to the hospital.
He was left alone after he was taken to the hospital by the soldiers. According to the assemblyman of the Ashaiman Municipal Assembly, Ni Ayiku Kabute, they will head to court if the victims are not compensated. He condemned the actions by the military personnel deployed to the area and further urged the police to speed up investigations. In all, 184 people were whisked away to Bema camp. 34 victims are yet to be released. Godwin Asidiba, TV3 News, Ashaiman.
These are pretty disturbing pictures coming in from Ashaiman. Meanwhile, security expert Professor Kwesi Aning has laid the blame at the doorstep of Parliament for the continuous military excesses in the country. The Ashaiman military swoop is only one amongst many other cases of military brutalities that have resulted in the loss of lives of citizens and for some, irreparable injuries. Whilst the Ghana Armed Forces says the operation was sanctioned, the security expert warns this could further lead to the emergence of extremist groups.
There's a bigger challenge and a failure. Parliament has not spoken. And the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Interior, with a deputy who was a former uniformed personnel from the Ghana Police Service, ought to have shown leadership. And that leadership is lacking. You see, because the Deputy Defense Minister, as I've said earlier on, has shown political maturity and humility by saying, look, there were some unfortunate excesses. But it's Parliament, and particularly the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Interior, that needs to invite people who did the planning to come and answer some tough questions, and to reassure the public post that conversation that, look, we've learned these lessons. Those who carried out the excesses will also be dealt with. The army tells us it was an intelligence-led operation, or that they used intelligence and they were targeted. I think the series of explanatory statements coming from the army itself have been unfortunate. When you read a press release carefully and you do a discourse analysis of the release, it was hastily put together, it wasn't thought through, and undermines this credible and creditable institution. Either we know that we are fighting terror, that the vulnerabilities to extremism and then eventually to radicalization is just around the corner, if it is not here already. And I think every single action that we take on behalf of the state now must ask this fundamental question. Will that action contribute to creating a more vulnerable space within which our enemies will act? And right now, there's no doubt in my mind that were any extremist groups to come and to recruit, people will say, yes, we want to strike a blow against the state. Both major political parties in Ghana must agree and must have a clear vision and direction as This is what our army must do. The Ghana Armed Forces itself, through its statutes, is very clear as to what it can do and what it ought to do and how it must be done. And I think when the Deputy Minister has agreed that there were excesses, it opens the way for some inquiry, and I think it's a necessary thing to be done.
Let's turn our attentions to more stories tonight. Now, the report of the Committee on the Presidential Nominees for Ministerial Positions will be adopted by a secret ballot. Chairman of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Owusu, tells TV3 this has been necessitated by the minority members on the committee's position not to approve the nominees. My colleague Evelyn Tingma reports.
Before the Appointments Committee of Parliament began vetting of the President's nominees for ministerial positions, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, gave a directive to its members not to approve the nominees. The vetting took place between February 21 and 22. Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa says it is appropriate for parties to direct their MPs.
It is done across the world. It's not new. In Ghana, if you want to know a political party that has given more directives to their parliamentary caucus, is the New Patriotic Party. A recent directive by the General Secretary of the NPP to the majority caucus to walk out on essential motion. The letter is all over the place.
He argued that government should have aligned some ministries.
We had an opportunity where 3 ministers had basically resigned. Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Agric, and then the Chieftaincy Ministry. What an opportunity for the president to reduce his ministers by basically looking at the personnel there and basically moving some of them to these new positions. You listen to the performance of the ministers. Are you sure that we don't have men in this government who could have done better than them in the vetting process?
The chairman of the committee, Joseph Osei-Owusu, indicated that the report, which will be taken to the plenary soon, will be by a secret ballot.
Our recommendation will be that the majority says yes, the minority says no. If we recommend approval by consensus, then the decision is taken by voice vote. But when we recommend by a majority decision, then the report is adopted by the secret ballot.
Our commitment is to make sure that we can get some of the members from the majority side to join us so that we can vote against this nomination when it is brought to the main house. And I think that that's the appeal to members on the majority side. And I know some of them do, that this government must cut costs and must make sure that they reduce the size of government. Join us in this crusade for the people of Ghana.
Elsewhere, a new report by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that there was a marginal decline in the number of migrants between 2010 and 2021. The trend has been attributed partly to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic in the country in 2020 and the attendant imposition of lockdowns in some regions and cities. According to the Statistical Service, most migrants had gone back to their hometowns and had not returned to their residencies, as well as the times between the 2021 population and household census was being carried out. However, from 2022, the number of migrants has seen an increase, with this already translating into the rapid urbanization in the country. Here's GSS explaining the reason for this trend.
We can see that between 2010 and 2021, there was a slight decline in the number of migrants in the country. We've been thinking very hard to try to see what could have resulted in that. And the only thing we can put our fingers on for now is the COVID. Because just before the census, we had a COVID lockdown in some parts of the country. And although the lockdown had been lifted, we know that during the COVID, the panic was such that a large number of people moved into their home areas because they feared that they could be locked down in where they are living. What this slide is showing us is just telling us the total population of children among the migrants. So the left side, the 29.4, was calculated based on the 30.8. It shows us the proportion of children in the country, the proportion of children 5 to 17 years in the country. And the 18% you are seeing are the migrant children out of the total number of children. So the 18.5 was calculated based on the base population of the total population of children. So it is saying that out of this number of children in the country, 18% are migrant children. Children between the ages 5 and 17. So you see, by our educational policy, these children are supposed to be, located somewhere and receiving education. So if they are compelled to move, then we should be looking at it seriously. But if they have moved for the purpose of education, then it is a good reason. Then among the migrant children, again, majority are females as compared to the males. And this is their age distribution. You can see that between the age group 5 to 9, 10 to 14, and 15 to 17, they are almost evenly distributed, but the nature of the graph is not showing it very well.
A reminder, you're still watching News 360. This is our major news bulletin. Let's know what you make of our major stories tonight, especially the brutalities that took place in Ashaiman yesterday. Keep your comments coming in on any of our social media pages. Still ahead in the bulletin, we've got the very latest in business news with Della Michelle.
The sweet scent of rose in the morning brings me so much joy. Inspired by damask rose and infused with 100% natural rose oil. Introducing new Clay Soft Perfume Beads Washing Powder. It's like bringing a garden with you everywhere with this wonderful perfume. Take a garden with you everywhere you go with Clay Soft Perfume Beads Washing Powder.
Wow, this place has changed, yo! Angela, look at you all grown up, yo!
Some things never change, like Gino's quality recipe that gives my food that rich color, unique natural taste every time.
Smells good, yo! Hey, sister. With the Wapunsan and Casa, just like I remember.
Uncle Ebo, hurry up and let's open the suitcase.
Ajua, chai, name shrink quimpa.
Best jollof I've ever eaten.
Wow, this is real jollof, mommy.
Gino dear, Emma Jania de Ancasa.
Say Gino dear, fie. It's delicious, yo!
This advert is FDA approved.
Hi, I am Richard Nyamakwe. Every day, I meet and interact with many young people who are full of business ideas and passionate about bringing these dreams to life to impact livelihoods and supporting their communities through small businesses. However, these businesses are often shattered or simply remain pipe dreams due to absence of seed capital. So on the occasion of my 38th birthday, the Richard Quay Foundation is providing a free seed capital to 10 young ambitious entrepreneurs who have great business ideas. Let your creative ideas flow now and send along those smart business ideas to info@richardquayfoundation.org. At the end, an independent grand jury will carefully review all business ideas and select 10 most outstanding ideas to walk away with a whopping 25,000 Ghana cedis each as seed capital. 6 months after, Quick Angels Limited will provide more substantial equity funding to those who have done something meaningful with their seed capital. All the best.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.
Welcome back to News 360. Della Michelle is here. Della, welcome. Are there some reactions to the State of the Nation's address?
Yes, we've got reactions from agribusiness and as well as the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana.
Take it away.
My name is Della Michelle. Let's begin with our major story for this evening. Stanbic Bank Ghana is expected to receive $81 million from its parent company to cover losses from the domestic debt exchange program. The South Africa-based Standard Bank Group said it is necessary to recapitalize Stanbic and has made provisions to cover more than half of its holdings in government debt. There's more in the following report.
Standard Bank, which operates in Ghana, Stanbic Bank holds more than $120 million in both domestic and onshore dollar-denominated government bonds. This means the domestic debt restructuring will result in significant losses to the bank, like all other banks in Ghana doing government business. Earlier today, Chief Executive of Standard Bank told Bloomberg that the losses incurred are huge and painful to holders of government bonds, but was quick to add that the bank has enough to mitigate any impact on its operations. It has now set aside some $81 million to cover potential losses arising from the domestic debt exchange program. This is not the first time we've had parent companies come out to talk about the impact of the debt exchange on their operations. Last week, we heard from FirstRand South Africa, which operates First National Bank in Ghana, writing off about $27 million of its holdings in Ghana bonds. Despite the challenges, Standard Bank, which operates Stanbic Bank Ghana, said it remains committed to Ghana and plans to leverage its strong balance sheet to drive market share.
There'll be more from this developing story in our subsequent broadcast, but former Finance Minister Seth Terkper says President Akufo-Addo failed to give a true picture of the Ghanaian economy when he addressed Parliament. According to him, the President during the State of the Nation address only painted a gloomy picture of the economy he inherited instead of telling Ghanaians about the very sorry state of the economy he has supervised.
I think from the presentation last week and this week is unfortunate. I don't know who wrote it, but there should have been an admission that we did not live, a bad economy, a terrible economy, that it has deteriorated on the strength of the current government's performance. So that is, as a member of the last administration, that is what, I can say. And I think that the minority came out very strongly to rebut that, So I think that we should also move away from that. And I'm surprised at some of the optimism that were expressed in a speech. We are in a down, situation. And I think that we do not, with all due respect, I think we need to be realistic and tell Ghanaians the realistic situation so that we are not pampered into thinking that, things are going well. I don't think we are in a very bad state, which one can have to go back, 40 years back, to get that situation. I didn't get that message coming, a sense of urgency. I didn't get that message coming out.
So the former finance minister is not the only one who has reacted to the State of the Nation address. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, their executive secretary, Samson Asaki Awingobet, says government should rather allocate budgets to boost production in the country instead of bringing up a new policy to ban importation. He was also reacting to SONA, and he says that reducing some $10 billion on importation, as mentioned by the president, could only cover or be as a response of why we are heavily dependent on imports.
If government will allocate a budget, the budget will end up going to these producers, be it the poultry producers, be it the maize producers, farmers, be it rice growers, and with a lower interest rate. Because at the moment, 40% interest rate from the commercial banks will not, even if you are a farmer, it's the name that you are a farmer, but at what rate, at what percentage of the, in terms of tonnage of maize, in terms of tonnage of rice, in terms of tonnage of soya beans, because to boost your poultry sector, you need maize and you need soya beans at a cheaper cost to feed to this poultry. They have to continue feeding for 6 weeks to be able to get broiler for us to be able to do what? And hatcheries. So we need to set up more hatcheries. Because in these hatcheries too, we need heavy investment. It's capital intensive. This is where we are not. This is where all of us are talking about. All what we are talking is.
Away from SONA reactions, economists are divided over whether the Bank of Ghana should press on with its increases in the policy rate to fight inflation or consider reducing the benchmark rate when it convenes for the Monetary Policy Committee deliberations later this month. In the following report, we take a look at the positions taken by these economists ahead of the MPC meeting.
In a release by the regulator, it announced that the Monetary Policy Committee would hold its regular meetings from Wednesday, March 24, to review developments in the economy. The meeting, according to the Bank of Ghana, will conclude with a decision on a new policy rate. The Bank of Ghana, at its last sitting, raised the policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%. The January move was the 7th hike since November 2021. Totaling 1,450 basis points. Financial economist with the University of Professional Studies, Dr. Jibril Mohammed, said the committee must consider reducing interest rates to propel private sector growth.
I'm expecting that they should reduce the policy rate so that the lending rate can come down, and that can have a positive impact on businesses' ability to borrow and expand. Because currently we have higher unemployment rate because businesses are not able to produce well and are not able to expand, and for that matter, they cannot employ.
The call to reduce the policy rate comes as Ghana struggles with multiple economic crises and tries to secure an International Monetary Fund loan. Courage Boti, however, says a reduction in the policy rate will not augur well.
I understand with the sharp decline in T-bill rate, it would improve the Ghana reference rate and by extension the rate at which loans could be procured. That in itself, if you like, is a way of reducing cost of credit and probably increasing lending if the banks are minded. So there are a lot of risks there to inflation which the Bank of Ghana need to be cautious about. And that is why my expectation will be that they will maintain their cautious stand, potentially even increasing the policy rate again.
Accra Brewery has launched an additional tagline, Chalet Club Beer Together We Are Gold, to complement existing ones. The launch in Ho in the Volta region capital was to commemorate Ghana's 66th independence anniversary milestone.
Accra Brewery has over the years associated its brands with major events in the country, including festivals and youth programs. Club Beer already has taglines Beer Die and Nwani Club and Chalet. The additional tagline Chalet Club Beer Together We Are Gold was unveiled as part of activities to mark Ghana's 66th anniversary celebration.
So this year, Club Beer has decided today, which is the Independence Day of Ghana, that we are going to elevate those moments where we come together with our friends to have fun, to ensure that we don't have to compromise on those moments, that we can have the best time with our friends at the end of a very difficult day. And that's the reason why we're doing this campaign called Together We Are Gold, to showcase that whenever we come together with our chalets to have fun, to consume Club Beer, we can really have a great time, irrespective of the challenges that we're having in our day-to-day lives.
The company has many other brands, including Club Shandy and Eagle Lager, among other alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages.
Club Beer is really about our consumers. That's why we are here. We're here for our chalets. So at the end of the day, it's about the quality liquid for the quality moments that our consumers share. And this year, we're trying to ensure that these moments can be the quality moments that friends share together with beer, the quality moments that bar owners share with their customers, with their consumers, and the quality moments that we share as Club Beer manufacturers with all of you chalets who are Club Beer lovers.
Patrons were served chilled Club Beer and some of the brewery's other beverages.
And that's our wrap up the business news. Log on to 3news.com for more business news. My name is Della Michelle. Oreku Ampo for standing by with sports. Stay with us after this break.
What does money mean to you?
It means convenience. It gives me the ability to do business at my own pace.
It allows me to live my life with ease and enjoy my lifestyle without interruptions.
Security. I can make investments I can trust, and I know exactly where my money is all the time.
Having the flexibility to do what I want to.
The feeling and peace of mind I get knowing I can safely receive remittances from my family and friends from the comfort of my home. Money means safety.
Money means so many things to so many people, but no matter what you use it for or what it may mean to you, money is the one thing that keeps us going and makes our lives a little bit brighter. So what does money mean to you? Just Momo it.
MTN.
OneXBet, reliable bookmaker with high odds, wide selection on events, and bonuses for every taste. OneXBet, easy use, easy win.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years.
You know what I love? My family, my friends, and of course you. And that's why I found it important to get the COVID jab. Also, I want you to go and take the jab so we can all live a happy and healthy life for a long time. The numbers are rising. That means COVID is still out there. Go and get the jab. The vaccine is safe. Of course, I love my life.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG.
Time now for the very latest in sports news. Oreku is here with the very latest. Oreku, what do you have for us?
And so the Black Stars squad has been announced.
Yes,
and,
yes. I'm talking about 3 players or so from the previous World Cup will not be featuring in the squad.
Yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, there have been some dropouts. It's been a long time, about 4 or 5 months. So things have changed, player form and all that.
Right,
and
take it
so
over.
there are some new players in the squad that we're looking forward to.
Let's hear from you.
But as we were talking about, the Chris Hughton era has officially begun after the 64-year-old named his first Black Star squad earlier today. The 3 Sports team takes a look at what has changed from the squad since the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Chris Hughton is no stranger to the Black Stars. He's been in and around the team for the past year. The only difference now is that he's the one calling the shots this time round. Now, he's decided to make 7 changes from the team that represented Ghana in the World Cup back in 2022. Top of the list is Baba Rahman, who's been a constant for the national team in the past year. He misses out for the first time since March 2022, and it's due to a leg injury that he suffered with his club side Reading. Fatau Isaku, who also just featured for a minute at the 2022 FIFA World Cup, has no place in the new Black Star squad. He's just played 85 minutes for Sporting CP's first team this season. Alidu Seidu, Kofi Tre, and Elisha Owusu are all out due to injury. In terms of returns, Joseph Painstill is back with the national team. He controversially missed the 2022 FIFA World Cup. The forward is enjoying his best ever season in his career, scoring 11 goals and providing 10 assists in the Belgian league. Jojo Wolocott, who also missed the FIFA World Cup due to a finger injury, is fully fit again and reclaims his place in the Black Star squad. Majid Ashimeru has been included in the Black Star squad for the first time since 2021. He's been instrumental for Anderlecht, scoring 2 goals and providing 3 assists so far. Remember the name Patrick Pozo? He was part of the 55-man provisional list for the FIFA World Cup. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the cut then. This time around, he's in the 25-man squad to face Angola. Pozo has had a good season with FC Sharif. He's played in the Champions League, the Europa League, and then the Conference League. The former under-20 Ghana international is yet to play for the Black Stars. These are the 25 players Chris Hughton deems fit to help him achieve the best possible start to his Black Stars career when he faces Angola in the space of 4 days come end of March.
Well, you could see boldly written under the story getting to the end that there was no Ghanaian Premier League player in the squad. Two of them went to the World Cup. However, Danlad and Bania are not in the squad. Bania has already moved on from the Ghana Premier League. Danlad missing out on the squad. But it's a testament of the level of the Premier League as it has dropped in terms of standard in the past few months. Now, fans are the main drivers in every sport, and without them, there will be no or little development. There has been a public concern in recent times regarding the low attendance of football fans during the Ghana Premier League matches. A revival is needed to save the sport here in Ghana. Kelvin Owusu-Ansah has more in this story.
The patronage of the Ghana Premier League in recent years has hit a crescendo. Few venues are able to have appreciable numbers. The rivalry between Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko is the biggest in Ghana football. It is the fixture that has always gotten the buzz and sent spectators to the stadium. On Sunday, when the two teams converged to play in the President's Cup, attendance hit a new low. Over the last few seasons, the fixture has suffered. According to the National Sports Authority, only 4,370 tickets had been purchased before the gates were open for free admission. Not even the President's presence could fill up the stadium. For several people, the local game is not as enticing as it used to.
We have failed to invest in the game over the years. When player exodus started, when our players started traveling abroad, I think we took things for granted. We were doing the same thing, expecting a different results, and that is what we are seeing today. Kotoko Hearts match, that doubles as a league game and a President Cup game. Look at the atmosphere, very dull.
From the betting scandal, it damaged the product. Football is held to that high level because of our ability to tell you that, look, we don't know the result, the uncertainty in the result. And when people go to the stadium and they are going, they know the results and it happens the way they've been told. It's painful. And our fans are no more football fans. They are investors. They are stakeholders in a different form whose satisfaction from the game is not just the win their teams get, but the fact that they get economic results.
High performance specialist for FIFA, Faisal Chipsa says one of the contributing factors is lack of quality in the general play.
Better educators, better coaches, is better players. And if we are not producing the best of coaches here, I don't think we can produce the best of players. And you can tell we have a coaching problem for sure. So that's where the focus should be. You know, it shouldn't just be organizing courses and charging for coaches to come, because we all know the best coaches may not have the funds to attend. So how can we make coach education easily accessible to most people, especially in the grassroots and the foundation level, so they can teach the right skills to the players?
Football fans, it costs too much to consume the product they are being served.
Moderate charges, everybody will come. But when you are charging this money and the people don't have the money, what would they do? They'll stay at home.
The president of the GFA, Keto Krako, has charged the clubs to galvanize support for their games as a responsibility. Calls have been made for strategies to be taken on how to attract spectators to the various stadia.
The earlier the Youth and Sports Ministry, the arm of government that oversees our football, join hands with the GFA to commission a scientific research into why people are not coming to the stadium, the better. Everybody is now doing guesswork, people trying to do guesswork. Let's find a scientific basis for why they are not coming and take action immediately.
A number of factors contributing to the low patronage of the game locally here in Ghana. But let's travel abroad before we do call it a night here on the sports segment and bring you updates from the UEFA Europa League. Round of 16 fixtures currently ongoing. Arsenal being held to a 2-2 draw against Sporting CP in Portugal. Remember that the second leg will take place next week at the Emirates, which is just 7 days away from today.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is said here.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. A delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenini na da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino. Do your magic.
And papa no kunu abe fie.
Tasty magic.
And your daddy trying to kiss Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
We are on a mission promoting access to quality health and education through the power of our media space. Since 2014, we have made great impact. TV3 mission now drives Ghana's quest to break barriers and provide access to inclusive and quality girls' education, together with women's maternal health services. Our mission to address the needs of the socially excluded has won the admiration of many. Indeed, TV3 Mission gets you the results. Mission is live on TV3 News 360 every Saturday and Sunday. Supported by Star Ghana Foundation, with thanks to Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water.
Time now for the very latest in entertainment news. Nira right here.
As usual. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you, Aisha. It looks like today Pakwesi is very
calm.
Yeah.
I'm always calm.
No, we know you, Pakwesi.
Really, you know me.
We know you.
You know me.
We know, even in your absence, we know what, you're capable of doing.
Anita, people are waiting for the entertainment news. Don't mind Pakwesi.
Looks like I have to take it away. My name is Anita Ekufo. In entertainment this evening, 2018 GMB Central Regional Representative Tewa visited some mothers at the Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital in Mampong, Ekiapim. The visit is part of a commitment to improve quality delivery in health through education and some donations.
As part of her commitment to improve quality delivery in health, 2018 Central Regional GMB Representative Perpetual Pelabi is championing a new cause with her Perpetual Impacts Foundation. Popularly known as Tewa, the midwife, together with some health professionals over the weekend, were at the Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital in Mampong Ekiapim in the Eastern region. Her goal was to educate women on preterm conditions through community outreaches.
The Perpetual Impact Foundation focuses on developing sustainable programs and projects to improve quality delivery in health and education sector in Ghana. We also focus or help create an environment that gives hope to the preterm babies or babies born preterm. The day has been very beautiful. I'm very proud of myself for putting up something like this. The mothers came in their numbers. We have a natal intensive care unit doctors. They were also with us to share with us some of the things that the mothers needs to know on breastfeeding, infection prevention, personal hygiene.
To some mothers, The event was an impactful one as they received lessons on proper ways to protect preterm babies from infections.
I have learned a whole lot, such as infection prevention, how to nurture them, how to feed them, and then I've known that a whole lot of people are dying, let's say babies, they are dying due to our ignorance or lack of education. So this foundation is helping to improve, to save the lives of our newborns, especially preterm.
What she's doing is creating awareness on the problems these babies are facing and issues in the facilities and how to manage them and all that. From the meeting we just had, she's even advocating for incubators, which is a necessity. That's what we use in nursing these babies. So she's doing a lot. And if given the support that she needs, it's going to go very far and going to help these babies.
Perpetual Impacts Foundation also donated some items to the pediatric ward of the hospital.
Some more stories. Legendary Guinean dancehall artist Samini has cautioned civilians against making comments that could surge the situation in Ashaman after a military raid in the area. In a tweet, the Linda hitmaker stated that there's always an appropriate expression to defend an action or inaction. Hence, it is safer to not utter any remarks or take any action that could produce any negative consequence. What can a civilian say after this statement? Watch your mouth, my youth. There's always the right terminology to justify an action or inaction, and that to condemn a reaction or rebellion. Know which side you belong and act accordingly. Don't fuel the fire. And still on our Ghana month, and also today, let's get into our Ghana Corner series. We shine a light on kente. Kente is a Ghanaian fabric made of hand-woven cloth, strips of silk and cotton. Historically, this fabric was and is still popular among royalty in Akan. It originated from Bonre in the Ashanti region of Ghana, and kente comes from the word kenten in Ashanti dialect, which translates as basket in English, referencing the basket-like pattern. Also, the Akan ethnic groups refer to kente as nyentuma, meaning woven cloth. And Ashanti folklore includes a story where weavers invented kente by seeking to replicate the patterns of Anansi, the spider. And that'll be all for entertainment. My name is Anita Ikua Ikufu. Up next is International News. Good evening.
6 people have been confirmed dead after a bus and a train collided in the Nigerian city of Lagos. 71 people were injured, 29 of them critically. The accident happened on Thursday morning during rush hour, and both vehicles were carrying commuters. The coach was taking civil servants to work while the train was shuttling commuters from the outskirts of Lagos into the city. At the site of the crash, the wreckage has been cleared, but shards of glass and blood can still be seen. The governor of Nigeria's Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has called for people to come forward and donate blood as medics treat those wounded in the collision. Japanese police have arrested 3 people over sushi terror-viral unhygienic pranks that are threatening the world-famous feature of sushi conveyor belt restaurants. Last month, a video of a man licking a soy sauce bottle on a sushi conveyor went viral, sparking outrage. In the video, he can be seen squashing sushi dishes at the Kura Sushi restaurant branch. Since then, dozens of such videos have proliferated, sparking public concern.
We're on air.
Thank you for staying with us. Throughout the last 1 hour, we've been having, behind-the-scene conversations on something really personal. But thank you very much. If you log on to 3news.com, you will find more stories on there. My name is Aisha Yakubuhali.
And my name is Pakwisi Asari. Bye-bye.